Hello? No.
Yep. I got you.
I can't hear.
Oh, they can hear each other.
That's okay. I'll do an audio check here.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Yep, we can do another check on the one.
Test, test. Now, Steve, these are some real technical difficulties.
We did it. What an amazing crew. They always seem to come through here.
We did it.
It's good now?
Yeah, we're also live. You guys been saying that. Yeah, you guys are on.
It's fine. We're giving you the appropriate shout out for the hard work you're doing here behind the scenes.
Oh, hello, everyone. We are back. An exciting matchup here on this great Tuesday afternoon. Caledon Basketball Academy against Vaughan Prep. I'm Max, and I'm back after a short little break. And we're here again with Steve, who held it down last week in my absence.
Max, great to have you back. I think one of the really exciting things about this game is that it's kind of a showcase for what's been going on at the OSBA. We looked at last season being a huge success, a lot of positive things come out of it, but then the byproduct of that success has actually led to a little bit of expansion this year, and here's two of the teams that were part of that expansion. They get a chance to showcase just exactly what level is going on with them as well, too. So it's been great basketball top to bottom throughout the league, and I think this will be a nice showcase for the two expansion teams in a head-to-head.
All right, and here's the tip. Zingara and Walters. Ball goes over to Belvedere for Caledon. Kolb driving from the top, finds Zingaro cutting to the basket, and she puts up two early ones for Caledon.
You always like the early touch to get something inside the paint. That doesn't mean it has to be to a forward. It could be someone on penetration, but you love something early at the rim just to get your offense established.
Here's Francis bringing it up for Vaughan. Spits, doesn't spit, she splits the trap, and ball comes up to Caledon. Belvedere, the pull-up in transition, it's no good, but Culp's able to follow that. There's Fulong now working off the Dodig screen, fires from deep, and it rattles in. Quick 5-0 lead here for Caledon.
And that's still building that thing for Caledon. They still got another touch inside. The initial penetration got into the paint. They got an offensive rebound. Then once it kicked out, it's a little bit more of a scramble for the defensive thing. So that's why you look for those early touches inside, get the defense moving.
Francis finds Wahid Warren up top. They swing it around. Here's Brown on the wing. She looks to drive baseline. Shot's a little bit off. Bouncing around. Walters comes up with it, though. Her shot just a bit off as Zingaro comes down with it for Caledon.
Nice job, Walters, sticking with that, though. It kind of hit a couple hands, just stayed in place to get the rebound.
Kolb looking to drive. She's tied up there by Wahid Warren. Walters comes down with it for Vaughan.
And Walters again, too, just sticks with it on the glass, which is an important piece of the rebound, and people often give up too early.
Hilton, a deep three. It's no good. Zingaro collects another rebound, looking to push for Caledon. Good pressure there by Hilton, able to tie her up. It's going to remain Caledon ball. And at the 8:13 mark in the first, we're going to have an early timeout from Vaughan.
Yeah, I think the timeout, Max, judging by what we could hear from the bench from where we were sitting, is they had a little confusion what they were trying to do offensively. It seemed like Coach was pretty adamant that the ball was supposed to be moving to somewhere that it was not getting clearly, and I think they take a quick time to get that sorted out. It's one of the challenges. You come with a game plan, you got certain things you want to evaluate, and usually your offense comes out to test what the defense is doing. You want to see how they're covering one of your common actions. So probably what came out for Vaughan as they came out here, they weren't able to test that action so you can't really adjust your game plan because you don't know what the defense is doing on your primary sets.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. So it leads to the early timeout to get you back to where you want.
Get back on track. And then if you're Caledon, we like what we're seeing early.
I think if you're Caledon, you're really pleased with the offensive touches. And we talked about already in the game that they got two trips down there, 2 trips inside the paint, and both of those led to pretty good outcomes. So now what you'll do is you'll probably get a chance to come back to that same discussion of like how you're getting the ball in there and what you're trying to get out of it. I wouldn't be surprised to see them now do something to get Dodig involved. And probably something with her either going to the paint or something on a ball screen, but just somewhere where she's now involved in that offense. They've established the interior piece. Now ensure that you get some of those main cogs in your offense involved as well.
And one piece we haven't seen much of from Caledon that we have seen in the past is their transition game. So we'll see if some of those guards get out and run a little bit. We have seen Vaughan show a little bit of pressure, so see if they can try and exploit that going into the rest of the first quarter. Caledon comes out, they get it to Dodig, swings it over to Fulong, and Fulong from long buries another 3.
You know, the subtlety there for Dodig around half. She goes a little in and out to break that pressure. She freezes the defender on the sideline and can beat her on the outside. That gives her so much space to throw back cross court, and the defense is broken to give an open look at the 3.
Vaughan works it around, finds Wahid Warm a good look. She's unable to convert. Caledon comes up with it, and here they look to push.
And Vaughan's going to want her to have some more looks like that.
Little miscommunication there between Culp and Dodig. Vaughan's able to come up with it. Here's Hilton now. She tries a 3. A little bit off. The fight for the rebound comes down to Culp, and here comes Caledon. Great pass there from Belvedere over to Fulong. She's able to hit for 2 more.
Wahid Warm's the last one back there, and it seemed like she had a miscommunication with her teammate. She was pointing the coverage. She wanted to cover the rim, but no one was able to get back and cover that piece for her. So she started to take the ball. There was no one at the rim, and ended an easy layup.
Looking to use Walters from the high post. She sets the screen for Francis. They swing. Here's Hilton again, a 3. Just short, but Wahid Warm gets that O-board. And then Walters is able to finish it off for Vaughan.
Walters has been consistent right now. She's been around the glass at both ends. She puts herself in position to give herself a chance at the offensive rebound. So far, she's turned 3 out of it.
Here's Vaughan in that pressure. Dodig's able to break free, though. Belvedere looks to drive. Dodig at the top, covered by Hilton. Looking to make something happen. Gets a little runner just inside the 3. It's short.
And it seemed to catch Dodig off guard herself a little bit there. I think that the runner was almost in between things she was going to do. Came off like she was going to go to the hoop. Got a little surprised with the defense coming in, and then I think just ended up taking a shot that was a little out of her comfort zone. You see Vaughan now and their offensive attack. They're purposely setting a ball screen here on one wing, and they're relying on the reversal to the weak side corner is going to get enough scramble from the defense to create a closeout, and they're trying to play against that closeout right now.
Subs coming in for both teams. We have Hall checking in for Vaughan, and for Caledon we have Jovin. Jovin, right after the sub, comes up with a steal and pushing the other way for Caledon. There's Zingara on the block looking to work on Walters. A little misstep there with the dribble. It's going to be bounced out of bounds. It's going to go Vaughan way.
Yeah, that's always tough for the athlete. So I think Zingara's probably frustrated that she dribbled off her foot. But I think if you're Caledon in the big picture, you like that. You got a touch inside there to her. You're going to force the defense to have some sort of game plan. You're going to force them to collapse a little bit. You just don't want – you'll trade one possession for a chance to establish what you're trying to do inside.
Here's Vaughan. They're looking to find Walters down low. Hall's pass is, though, tipped away by Fulong. She comes up with a steal. She's trying to make things work, but Walters comes up with the steal of her own and puts it right back in.
Yeah, Walters stays with that one. That's a big hoop for them. I think it was almost a point of frustration you could feel on the team, but they stay active in the front court, then get a deflection, are able to pull a steal out of it.
Caledon's able to pass over the top. Here's Jovin looking to attack. She's going to be fouled there by Francis.
You see Wahid Warren's going to come back in. She's obviously a huge piece to the Vaughan offense. They're going to get her back in the game now. And sometimes you're one of those early subs if there's a chance to take her off, maybe talk to her a bit about where her opportunities could be coming from, or something you want her looking for in the offense. You get her back to set, you get her back in the game, and now see if she can add a little offensive spark.
Here's Caledon. They get it into Belvedere, who makes something happen, but Walters is there to shut that down. Vaughan's looking to push the other way.
Great piece of the block there by Walters, is not leaving her foot in the initial move.
Here's Hilton, another deep shot. That one's just off. Wahid Warren again fighting on the glass. Her dribble that was just bounced out of bounds. It's going to go over to Caledon.
Walters still active though down there, Max. So Wahid Warren gets that one. It gets knocked off her foot, as you said, and Walters almost picked it up again too. She's just around the ball right now.
Both of them have constantly hit the glass. Caledon's going to have to find a way to put body on both of those. And Zangaro's pass is going to be tipped out of bounds by Hilton. It's going to stay with Caledon. And on that break, we have Dodig checking in for Fulong.
And sometimes when your offense isn't clicking, so if you're at 4 points at the halfway mark, you can make up for a lot of that if you go offensive rebound. I think if you're Vaughan, you can almost look at that as your buy time a bit. If the offense isn't going, we get some rebounds. We'll use that to bridge the gap until we get something going.
And the step back three by Belvedere is good. The third three for Caledon early on, and they take the 13-4 advantage.
Yeah, and the other flip to that is if you're shooting the ball well, it also cures a lot of ailments on offense.
Hilton tied up there by Joven, and Caledon comes up with it. Here's Dodig pushing across half. Belvedere fires one right back again, and she's able to hit again.
Great shot. Again, Dodig deserves some credit. She took on that pressure. Vaughn's doing a nice job in the full court of getting to the ball, causing some disruption. Dodig takes that on and then delivers the ball to a spot where a teammate can take a shot, and Belvedere delivered the shot.
A great up fake there by Hollis. She's able to get into the key and finish. She'll be at the line. +1.
You can feel a little bit right now for Vaughan. I think they feel, and probably a lot of people feel, they've played a little better than the scores reflecting here early, so you get that frustration when things aren't going. And they had one earlier with Walters where, like as we said, we should kind of score an opponent where they really needed. I think this is another time where they're just trying to find their footing here a little bit in this game. Caledon's come out making so many shots. You want a couple things to go your way. They've got this one now, and you're trying to build on that, allow them to get back into pressure, allow them to change some things here on defense, and just see if they can get something going here to get this first quarter in a roll.
Hall's able to convert the three-point play, cutting the lead now 16-7 for Caledon. 4 minutes remaining here in the first. Here's Jovin, pressured by Hall, and she's able to pick up the 8-second count. Great defense there by Vaughan.
Yeah, Hall did a tremendous job on the ball, as you said. She had a chance there where it looked like she had a tip and the ball's a little bit loose, but made a great defensive play. You can tell great defenders by this. She took a stab at it, the ball's loose there, but then just continued to show her chest and keep the offensive player going side to side. Knew the 8 count would play itself out.
And right back the other way, Belvedere picks off the pass. She goes for the 1-2 finish, unable to convert, but gets her own board. Here's Dodig for 3, just short. Caledon again, Dodig on the block, and she's going to be fouled there by Walter. She'll be at the line for 2.
Yeah, nice job by Caledon to respond to that, because I think it had a piece going Vaughan's way a little bit. Like, you get that great play in the front court defensively. It's a thing you can use. It's a thing that Vaughan has used as a strength all year, is the pressure trying to create some turnovers. So you can use that as a bit of a momentum piece, but Caledon takes that right from them. You turn a steal over on us. We just stole the inbound pass, come back down, and 3 offensive rebounds later.
Right back at ya.
Exactly. There's also a good chance for Caledon to get Dodig at the line and get her a couple looks here, a couple shots.
Dodig's able to trickle the second one in. Her first point of the ball game. And Francis looking to start the offense for Vaughan. She's able to get in the lane. Little pull-up jumper there, just short. Browns comes down with it for Caledon. Here's Jackson on the left wing, working against Francis. Tied up there, but it's going to be tipped out of bounds by Hall. It's going to remain with Caledon. And I think we're going to have a reset on the shot clock to 14, so Caledon will have 14 here.
Yeah, Hall does a nice job challenging the pass, but you're right. She did get a foot to it, so it's a kick ball and a reset to the 14.
It's going to be tipped off the foot again. It's going to remain with Caledon 9 on the shot clock now.
Yeah, and Hall's really making her mark here at the defensive end. Seems like she's got 5 or 6 deflections already in this quarter. An 8-second count in the front court.
Caledon gets it into Brown. She swings it over into the corner, and Dodig's able to hit for 3. Caledon reigning in the threes early here.
Yeah, Caledon's shooting the ball tremendously well, but then we go back to that free throw attempt. Sometimes it seems so little, but you get a chance to get Dodig at the line, get 2 free cracks at it. Next thing you know, she gets a 3-point attempt, and she's already feeling a little bit better about her shot and her rhythm. 3 more points go up. I think their 5th three-pointer of the quarter.
A deep 3 there, unable to convert from Francis. The fight for the rebound comes up to Caledon, but then stolen away by Bahid Warham.
A lot of bodies on the floor, though. It's pretty exciting basketball. People going to get that rebound.
They find Aruda down on the block. Her shot's a bit short. Brown comes up with it for Caledon, and here's Dodig looking to push. Great pass there by Dodig, finding a cutting Jackson. She's going to be called for the travel, though. The basket is no good.
That's too bad. What a tremendous play. Jackson with a heads-up cut. I mean, Dodig makes a wonderful pass. She makes a tremendous cut. The timing of it gets in behind the defense, and I think what happened to her there a bit is she was going to catch it and put it up on the short side, but as she realized on the catch, she was probably right underneath the rim, and then that probably changed her or caused her to change her feet a little bit. A little shuffle ends up being a turnover, which is too bad. A great play, great read by both parties.
Here's Hilton up top for Vaughan. They get a Walter screen. Walter's going to be called for the illegal screen, though, there. That's her 2nd foul of the game, so that's something to watch here going forward.
Yeah, that's a real challenge for Vaughan. They've been very reliant on Walters, and, I mean, rightfully so. She does a tremendous job in the glass. She's a huge piece of their offense, setting that ball screen piece. So one thing you don't want to see is her getting called for a moving screen because you need her in the game. They make their reads. They put a lot on their point guards. They make reads on that action with Walters. So now the question will be for them is can they continue to run that action knowing that she's exposed to that 3rd foul, or they have to change what they're doing and protect her a little more.
They throw it to Dodig over the top, who kicks out. We have Fant in the pull-up, just off. The fight for the rebound. Hall comes down with it for Vaughan. Tipped away from behind from Fanton, though. Caledon right back the other way.
I like what Hall's doing out there, though. A lot of deflections now. Chase down that rebound. She seems to be everywhere.
Dodig's pass there. Picked off. Vaughan comes up with it. Here's Brown looking to go off the Walter screen. Denies it. Goes baseline instead. Rattles out. Gets her own board, though. Kicks over. Here's Hilton. Too strong. And it's going to be out of bounds going Caledon way.
And right now, Caledon's keeping the defender on Walters in that ball screen action. So you can see that's what Vaughan's trying to exploit, but they're not making an outside shots. It's making it really tough for them to have success in the offense. They're getting the point guard to go in there, draw a second defender, the kick out, but they're not converting that piece. So I can't imagine Caledon changing much until someone starts making some shots in the perimeter for Vaughan.
As Brown brings it up for the Cougars this time, hands it off to Dodig at the top. Brown making something happen with a little spin dribble. It's no good, though. Vaughan comes down with it. Here's Francis. Brown picks her up at the top. They get a little handoff action. A little shimmy shake there by Brown. It's no good. Caledon down with the ball. Woo! Athletic stop there by Hilton, able to deflect it out of bounds. It's going to remain with Caledon.
Yeah, not only did she get up there, but she got up quick. But sometimes it's the time you get off the ground to get up there that's so tough on the pass, or you're surprised that Hilton get up so quickly.
And those are some nice shoes, too. Got a good glimpse of them right in front of us here. They find Brown there at the high post. Here's Dodig looking to drive. Finds Fanton on the little short corner. It's out of reach, though. It's going to go over to Vaughan.
Probably don't have a great angle to assess what happened, whether the pass was off or someone was moving when they shouldn't, but I think the look or the find of the person the ball should be going to was right by Dodig. It was a nice little job there to get in there, the left-handed pass, but unfortunately the pass-receiver combo didn't work out. It ended up being a bit of a turnover. But I thought the read of where it should go was the right play.
Belvedere checks in for Dodig after that errant pass. There's Vaughan working around the top. Hilton finds Brown in the corner. Her shot's just off, but Hilton crashes the O-glass this time. Nifty dribbling, gets to her right hand, unable to finish. Here comes Belvedere for the Cougars.
Yeah, another nice little job there by the guards on Vaughan. Just still can't find a way to convert.
Fanton for 3, just long. Hall comes down with it for Vaughan. Here's Hilton. Kicks out. Francis rattles out. Belvedere comes down with it for Caledon. The fight for the rebound is going to be a jump ball going Vaughan way.
Yeah, again, the Vaughan guard just in there trying to make some pieces happen. So they deserve some credit. And like I said before, I think Hall's having a great quarter for them. She seems to be on all these loose ball things. A couple defensive plays, a couple rebounds, a couple deflections on the floor, making some pieces happen for them. Vaughan really just needs to convert some offense if they want to stay in this thing.
So we have 4 seconds left. And see what Vaughan draws up. They find Francis cutting to the basket, gets her little finger roll going, just rattles out. Belvedere comes up with it. It's going to be tied up by Hall, and that brings us to the end of the first. So after one, we have the visiting Caledon Cougar Basketball Academy 19 to the home Vaughan Voyageurs 7.
And Caledon had a great quarter. I mean, they deserve a lot of credit. This isn't against their piece. I mean, they shot the ball tremendously well. They had 5 threes, which is going to put you in a good position in any game. But on the flip of that, I thought Vaughan actually did some pretty good things. They got some opportunities. They had chances on the offensive glass. They did some stuff in defense and transition, getting some tips, deflections, items like that. But their ability to convert on the offensive end is really what held them back. And I think as you get into that hole, it becomes a challenge. So you get down 12 here. It's definitely not insurmountable by no means, but you got to do something here in the next 5 minutes to really put it so it's a game back and forth as opposed to putting yourself in a position to dig out of it in the second half.
And Vaughan was getting good looks, just unable to convert many threes, just rattling out for them, where Caledon were converting their open threes.
Yeah, great point. Caledon shot lights out, it felt like, for the whole quarter, which was credit to them. And they had good shots as well, but Vaughan had some opportunities they couldn't convert. And we'll see if that trend continues. One of the things we ended up talking there in the quarter was what they're going to do with Walters. And she had to sit down at the end of the quarter. We saw that happen. They ended up dropping their post in that scenario and put more in the guards to penetrate. So maybe with that change, they'll get something going, a bit of a rhythm. Maybe Walters will come back and they'll get back to the ball screen action. We'll have to see what Vaughan tries to do to ignite some offense. And we'll see if they can do something to get Wahid Warms going as well. She's gone a quarter with them without scoring and probably only had a shot or two. So we're getting word now from the technical staff here that we've been giving credit for a 3 to one of the shots, but
Fulong's second 3 was not.
Was a long 2,
Yes.
ruled by the referees, which makes the score 19. So it was correct on the score piece, but we've been quoting 5 threes, but really it was 4 and a long 2.
Wrong. Fulong from not too long, just a 2. And here we go to start the second. Same people out there for both teams that ended the first, and here we have Belvedere bringing it up for Caledon, sorry.
Yeah, and Vaughan's going to start without Walters, so that's going to be the piece we have on the timeout or in the intermission of what are they going to do offensively now with her on the bench. Is that going to change what they're doing, or are they stay in the same game plan trying to get it going?
And we also see Wahid Warm on the bench, so that's 2 of their primary scorers we've seen in the past. We'll see if they check one of them in soon to see and try and get that offense moving. Caledon gets it in. The pass is tipped away, though. It's going to be a jump ball, which is going to go Vaughan way.
I love to see this, and I mean, appropriately you could hear the Caledon bench and coaches jump on this as well too. But when your forwards are the ones jumping onto a loose ball on the floor like that, you got to appreciate that effort. And I think any time one of your bigs hits the floor to do that, you want to recognize that. And Caledon did a great job recognizing it because Zangaro deserves a ton of credit for jumping in there and tying that thing up.
Caledon shows pressure of their own. Hilton was able to break it, but then Fulong from behind tipped away. Vaughan comes right back, though, with a steal of their own. Here's Aruba on the left side, and that's going to be stolen away by Jovin.
It's funny sometimes those ones when you steal in the front court, you're almost at a bit of rhythm. You're not sure where the people are coming from as they're tracing the play, so you can't really find yourself.
Zangaro making something happen on the block, kicks out to Jovin. Here's Fulong attacking now, finds Zangaro wide open on the block, and she's able to hit.
Yeah, nice nice job moving the ball. They continue to pass it around. They found someone on a closeout. You get to check that opportunity. It just seems so simple when you watch a set like that.
And with that score, we see Walters coming back to check in at the next break. So Vaughan going to put their big with 2 fouls right back in to take away that inside presence on Caledon. The ball passed around. Here's Aruba blocked by Zingaro, though. It's going to be tipped off Aruba. It's going to go Caledon way.
Oh, that's a great block. I mean, it's a right play. Vaughan did everything right. They pick up a loose ball and make a nice pass there. Aruba's in the right place. So everything's going exactly by design. Then Zangaro makes a heck of a play to get across and get a hand on it. So just full marks to Zangaro on the play.
Here's Caledon.
Sorry. To say, I give credit to going back to Walters here. I think it's just one of those scenarios at 14 points, even though it is only the first half. I think you want to find a way to stabilize this a little bit. You want to find something on offense. And right now, Vaughan's struggling on that piece to get something going on offense. So you go back to Walters and just try and get this going. You figure out the fouls and the rest of it later, but you got to get there first.
Here's Belvedere from deep, no good. Right away, Walters comes up with the board. Here's Francis pushing in transition. Gets to her left hand. She's going to be fouled. She'll go to the line for 2.
And that may be what Vaughan's looking for right now. You've had shots on the offensive end, haven't been able to convert, so maybe now the chance to break out and play transition, get some people going to the basket, may help get a little bit going. So as we talked with Dodic in the first, now Francis gets both a trip to the foul line, a couple of shots, and a chance to get herself in a bit of a rhythm for future possessions as well.
And there we go, hits the first. And hits the second.
Good
Vaughan.
2 for them.
Yeah, keep going.
Good 2 for them. I was just saying, let's them get back into their defense and just break a little bit of the flow that was going for Caledon.
Vaughan remains in that token pressure. Caledon's able to break out of it, but on the other end, Walters comes up with a steal on Zingaro. They get it right down to Francis. She's able to convert, plus the foul. She'll be at the line for the 3-point play.
Yeah, now, you got to go 2 fronts in this thing. They've needed this, what Francis provided, which is somebody actually finishing the plays. That's what they've been missing for a quarter. So she deserves a lot of credit for this. And she went and got to that contact. She was out in front of it, but just slowed down the pace, used her body to get the defender on top of her, and then still put it in. But the piece I want to talk on is that you went back to Walters that we talked about. So credit goes to Vaughan for this as well. Walters goes in, she gets a rebound, 2 steals now, and they've led to 2 transition opportunities for them.
Unable to convert the 3-point play. They come down with it. Good pressure there by Hilton, though. Caledon passes around. It's going to come up with a steal for Brown. So the pressure is starting to pay dividends here for Brown halfway through the second. They find Brown from the wing 3. She's unable to convert. Foulon comes down with it for Caledon.
They're going to need a couple of those to go, I think, to stick with Caledon, though. They're shooting the ball too well, Caledon, so you get open looks for Vaughan. They're going to make some of those.
The steal comes up to Hilton. She's going the other way. 2 long steps, and she's able to finish.
Yeah, Hilton with another nice patience, I guess, in jumping those passing lanes, which sometimes is another sign of a good defensive team that plays in pressure. But you don't show early. You almost try and bait the pass in, then you jump that late to get the steal.
Both Hilton and Francis and Hall have all been providing great defensive intensity on the other end. On that one, though, I believe that it's going to be Hilton picking up her 2nd foul. So that's 2 of Vaughan's key players already in foul trouble here.
Yeah, that one on Hilton is tough now. It does put some pressure because Hilton's been great. Walters has been great, and both of them are sitting with 2 fouls. And we talked about the credit of playing Walters with 2 fouls, but you've got to judge your own comfort of how long can you do that here in the second quarter. So she's helped you get things going a little bit, but it's still at 8, and then can you play her for the next 7 minutes or not?
Great play there, getting Belvedere cutting for the open layup. It's now a 23-13 lead for Caledon. On that last foul, we have Hilton checking out, Wahid Warham checking back in. We'll see if they can try and start to get her going here on the offensive end.
This is a great move now inside for Walters. So they come down to get it established. And this is a great piece, I think, for all inside players to see, or anytime you're going to play on the block with a post-up. Because what Walters does now, she catches it, and then she takes all of the contact and pushes Zangaro on her heels. So what happens in that case when you're the defenders, it's almost natural habit to reach back forward, and that's what created the space for Walters. So that long post step creates the cylinder she's going to shoot in. The defensive player, because they're backpedaling, reach into it. Now you've created a scenario where you're at an advantage. You're getting a draw foul almost every time.
Walters on the second, able to hit. Caledon passing through the pressure here from Vaughan. They get Zingaro on the left-hand side. She's tied up on the baseline. She's going to be called for the travel.
You know, sometimes the pressure doesn't have to be a steal either. So Vaughan has created a scenario where they break it, they throw it ahead, but it's Zingaro who's in the front of it trying to dribble and make decisions.
Right over the top, they find Brown. She goes right to the basket, and Walters is right there on the doorstep for the putback. 2 more for Walters.
It's just a really interesting game here for Vaughan now. I mean, Walters is clearly having a huge impact on what's going on. The 2 fouls makes it so interesting of like how long can you ride her, how long can you comfortable playing her out there, how much do you trust her to go without picking up a 3rd foul.
The shot from Caledon's too strong. It's going to go to Belvedere. We had the shot clock down to 5 or 4, but it was an errant reset, so it's going to be reset to 4 with Caledon ball on the sideline.
Good catch by the referees. I mean, they were on top of that one, and I think the quick whistle when the ball's on top is like almost perfect timing in these scenarios.
We have a FIVA certified shot clock expert here to my right, so he would know. Oh, that's tough for Vaughan. On the inbounds, they're going to get... Oh. It's going to be a double foul there on Zingaro and Walters. That will be Walters' 3rd and Zingaro's 2nd. So both key players for their respective teams. We'll see how the coaches manage that in the rest of the half.
Yeah, really, I mean, a shame. It's two marquee players really in the OSBA in general, so now you're going to put them both into foul trouble, a little tangled up with each other, and looks like both may end up in the bench in this scenario as well, too. So probably the right call. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even see what's happening, but just a bit of a shame to have to set them both down.
Here we have Culp inbound for the Caledon Cougars. They get to Dodig, 2 on the shot clock. Her shot's just off. It's going to go Vaughan basketball way.
Yeah, the confusion of the double foul call, I don't think both teams were fully aware of the shot clock scenario, so Caledon was kind of getting in and ready to run some offense, but there needed to be a little more urgency in what they were running or something going to the hoop before the pass was even coming in bounds.
They get it to Hall. Here's Francis looking to run it at the top for Vaughan. Here's Vaughan. Brown. They kick it over. Here's Francis now making things happen. She finds Brown, the right wing 3, and she's able to hit Vaughan's first 3 of the game.
Yeah, Brown was due. She's had some good looks, and she's had some good looking shots, just haven't fallen for you today. So to find her again, just if you're going to leave her open, she's going to make it start to pay.
And just like that, we have a 4-point game here, 5.5 minutes in the second. The crowd is getting into it. We love it here, and that's going to be a travel call there on Culp.
Yeah, Vaughan's definitely playing with a bunch of energy now on the defensive side, and Caledon's task now with Zangaro's down is to go back to how they start the game, which is ensuring they get touches still on the inside. And we mentioned you can do it through touches or you can do it through penetration, but any way you want to get in there, they got to get something going towards the rim for them because they were getting great looks early in the game from that.
We're going to have an offensive foul here called on Aruda. It's going to go over to Caledon.
Yeah,
that's also Vaughan's 4th foul of the quarter. So for the rest of the quarter, we will have Caledon in the bonus for every foul here on out.
Yeah, sometimes you like them to play with a little more energy and you take some of those fouls, but almost as you said, with it being the 4th foul and the time and score of what's going on, you probably didn't want that one as much, but you never know. Sometimes teams need that spark and that fight in them when things get down a bit. So that may have been audible at home or not, but 4-4 of the fouls.
Lost there by Brown. Aruda comes up with it for Vaughan. Here's Francis looking to attack. Hall tries to find Aruda, but it's tipped away there. They swing it around, though. Find Francis in the corner, unable to hit. Here's Dodig for Caledon.
Aruda did a nice job that possession, working in the paint, creating a lot of havoc.
Belvedere, the little step back in transition. Her 3rd 3.
Wow, that's a big one for Caledon. Belvedere, good credit for her. She knew where the line was. She clearly caught that one, was just sticking that thing out. She had the space. She knew wanted to get that shot off.
Shoot her, shoot. Just get her on the line. She'll bury them if she's open. Here's Vaughan working it around. They find Wahid Warm up top for 3. just short. The fight for the rebound. Aruda comes up with it, and she's going to be fouled. She'll be at the line for 2.
Yeah, Vaughan deserved better there. That was a beautiful extra pass. This one came out to Francis. Well, even you go back to Brown, she can have the shot fake attack. That was probably a good decision just to keep the offense going. Came to Francis. She made a beautiful extra pass against Wahid Warm, a shot from the top, and then you almost deserve the offensive rebound when you have possessions like that.
But we will have to give credit for Aruda for battling down low to get the offensive rebound.
Touche.
Not going to slight those posts, Steven. Come on now.
You were right. She worked hard.
Aruda off on both, but Hall comes down with it for Vaughan. They're going to remain in possession. 8 on the shot clock here. And you're going to have to hurry. Francis working up top. Again splits the double on this pick and roll, and she's able to hit the little pull-up.
So they go back to that wing ball on the one side there, even with Walters out of the game, and they get a real good shot that time from Francis.
Wahid Warham picking up Dodig full court. A little pressure there. She's unable to hit the pull-up. Here comes Vaughan the other way.
Caledon, nice job in transition that time to contain the ball. Looked like Vaughan was trying to get out and running, but Caledon did a nice job getting matched.
It's going to be a closely guarded 5-second call there. So it's going to be a turnover going to Caledon.
Those are good. I mean, those are great calls on defense. You love to have earn those types of scenarios where people are putting pressure and can get someone stuck for a 5-second count.
And the shot rattles out. Wahid Warham comes up with it for Vaughan.
Another good shot, though, or another good look, pardon me, for Caledon. They get the ball in transition. So Dodig with their second cross-court pass that led to an open 3.
Vaughan swinging it around the top. They find Brown, and she's able to hit another 3 for Brown. Vaughan starting to convert on their opportunities.
And Brown, as I said a bit before, like the odds had to play out here a bit. She had some really good looks. She was taking the right shot early on. It wasn't falling, so now that she's getting some more, eventually it's going to start to go.
A little confusion on the call. We'll wait till we get you there. That's going to be an offensive foul. They were called on Dodig, her second of the game. So it's going to go over Vaughan basketball way.
Yeah, and now Dodig goes to the bench, which makes this game really interesting because the total foul count is not that high in the game, but the people that have collected them have been very impactful. So we've got some of the marquee players in this game all on the bench for both teams.
Dodig now off of Wahid Warham, and right away she's going to look to attack. She hits her pull-up for her first 2 points of the game. We'll see if that gets her going.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that. I mean, I think she's one of the more gifted scorers, just flat-out scorers in the league, and a beautiful step back there. We see if we get her going, a bit of a rhythm here to end this half.
Again, the defense is into it. We'll see how Caledon responds, and Jovin's able to tiptoe her way right to the basket. She's going to hit the finger roll. 2 points, Caledon.
Wow, what a beautiful finish. I mean, the body control to get around that way. You're facing the wrong direction when you go to shoot it, but she can kind of scoop it through. So what an awesome finish that was. We're getting a scoreboard correction right now over the last shot. There was some discrepancy whether it was a 2 or a 3. Ensuring that only 2 went up on the main clock. This is the timing of these things are uncontrollable. It's part of basketball. It's part of everything, but it's probably more beneficial for Caledon right now than it is Vaughan to have this impromptu timeout and the slowing of the pace. It just seemed like Vaughan was building on that momentum. I thought that Wahid Warham really seemed to, that step back really seemed to inject the crowd. For whatever reason, that seemed to ignite them. I think it was the score getting back to tie. So the building was kind of picking up a little bit. So I think the timeout ended up working out pretty good for Caledon, and it's just by chance sometimes those things.
Let's see if they can get their crowd back into it. Here they go to push. Here's Wahid Warham at the top. Find Brown. Look to work it around. Here's Brown, another three-point opportunity, and she's able to hit again. Her third of this quarter, 9 points now for Brown, and we have a 1-point Vaughan lead.
And Vaughan, you could see, was trying, as we talked about early, get a wing ball screen one side, all the way to the corner, create the closeout, but Caledon was doing a tremendous job. They were here and matched, so there was no closer to create. So it went back to this on the floor where Brown started. She had a bunch of space to play by herself. They didn't close all the way out. She got herself on fire out there, 3 threes.
All right, and then we had Brown trying to break the pressure. She was going to be fouled by Aruda, so she'll be at the line for 2 here 2:12 remaining. It's a 1-point Vaughan lead. Caledon at the line for 2.
And the foul on Aruda would then make her second as well, too, which is going to be an interesting storyline because we've got Walter sitting with 3. We've got Aruda sitting with 2. So both are battling a little bit of their own foul trouble, and they kind of share the position, per se, for Vaughan right now.
Brown's able to hit both, and with the make of the second, we have Zingaro checking right back in for Brown. So we'll see how Vaughan contains Zingaro. As last time when Walters was out, she started to get going. They brought Walters in. We'll see if they can contain her here with Walters on the bench with 3.
Yeah, so this is a big move. You put Zangaro back in with 2 fouls, and you go to his own defense to try and protect her, but that means you're kind of putting your chips in of like, let's make a little run here to finish this half.
And the pass is picked off there by Jackson. They push the other way. Here's Jovin on the block. They get it to Zingaro. Her shot, the bank is good.
There you go. You come back to that. We thought they're trying to make a little run. They get the steal at one end, and Zingaro scores with the other end. So this is it's almost challenging you, Vaughan. I know you can't come back to Walter, so I'm going to see if Zangaro can give us a boost here for the last 2 minutes.
They get into the lane. Hall's shot just too strong off the block. It comes down to Fulong. She's going to be tied up, though. The jump is going to remain with Caledon.
Yeah, good tie-up because it's a pretty good shot for Vaughan, but Caledon was now swinging that thing going the other way. They had a steal, a good shot, then almost a quick shot for Vaughan, so they had some momentum. I feel like it was building there, too, so the tie-up was big.
They push the other way. They look to find Jovan. It's going to be tipped away there by Hall. It gets out to Fulong for 3. Just too strong. Here comes Wahid Warham for Vaughan. Ooh, little crossover there. Able to get into the lane. She's going to be pushed from White. She'll be at the line for 2.
I'll tell you, anyone that's been known as a great scorer, it just seems like you put them in transition and they just are too much to handle. And Wahid Warham fits that to a T. As a scorer, she gets out there and the little subtleties and the moves, the looks, her eyes going one way, the ball going the other way. She just has you on the run as a defender, and once that happens, the most likely outcome is you're going to get your hands on her. As soon as she felt that, she went right towards the rim.
And Warham able to hit the second. So we now have a 2-point Caledon lead, 1:20 here remaining in the second. Pass just over Wahid Warham's hands. They swing it around. Here is Jackson for 3, and she's able to hit one of her own.
The Caledon shooting has been so crucial tonight. I mean, the timeliness, the consistency, and the distribution. It seems like anyone you're leaving open is able to contribute to this, which is exactly what you want.
Caledon remains in their zone. Vaughan swings it around up top. Here's Hall. They get it down to Brown in the corner. They swing around. We have 3 on the shot clock now. Little confusion, and Zingaro picks off that pass. She's going to be tied up here by Aruda, though, on her half. Tipped away by Hall. Vaughan comes the other way. She's going to be fouled there by Zingaro, her 3rd, and she'll be at the line for 2 because it's bonus situation.
The toughest one for Zingaro, and I mean, it was probably for all the positives that have happened in this scenario, put Zangaro back in. They did a little push. I think there was a lot of momentum and positives Caledon took from that. The unfortunate piece in that turnover is that she ended up being the only one in the key, and it is a tough decision as an athlete, and I don't know what the word would be, but the comfort level to actually stay hands off in that scenario. So the offensive player, a lot of credit to Hall. She came right at her, and Zangaro's got tied up in a total disadvantage situation when they're coming downhill at you. The odds of getting a foul or committing a foul is pretty high.
Hall's able to hit the second. It's now a 4-point Caledon lead. With that foul, we had 2 checks coming in for Caledon. Dodig back in the game, along with number 14, Malinauskas. The pass just out of reach for the Caledon offensive player. Turnover Fulong, so Vaughan's going to have back possession.
And you see, interesting with the under 1 minute, they still came back to Dodig with 2 fouls as well. So Zingaro picked up her 3rd, but they were still confident enough in Dodig's ability to stay out of the foul to put her into the game in this scenario.
Francis again able to break through the double team. They get it up top for Wahid Warham, and her step around is good. Little up fake and then goes right around to her pull up, and she's going to hit for 2 more.
Just with the whole shot fake into pull up, just like it was rehearsed hundreds and thousands of times. And then Hall again here in the end line. I mean, this play can't be undersold before we go into this timeout, Max. She kind of baits him back. She's behind the offensive player, jumps up there as the offensive player steps out of bounds. So she's off balance the entire time, goes to throw the inbound pass, steps in bounds instead because she's wanting the turnover and leads to a Vaughan ball.
Oh, no. All right, and then we have a timeout here with 15 seconds. It's going to be a 2-point Caledon lead.
Yeah, one of the really interesting pieces of this, Max, now is both teams have kind of taken their chances with their, we'll say, star players that are in foul trouble. So we had Walters play with the 2 fouls. She ended up picking up the 3rd. They had to get out of there. Hilton sitting on the bench with 2 fouls. Zingaro came in and played with 2 fouls. She picked up her 3rd, and now Dodig's in there with 2 fouls too. So with the 15 seconds left, I wouldn't be surprised if at this scenario, Caledon takes Dodig back out to ensure she doesn't get that 3rd foul.
It is Caledon ball, though.
Oh, no, Caledon stepped in bounds.
Oh, okay, that's what I missed there. Okay, great. Now we're on the same page. Woo!
So what Vaughan's going to do now is have some sort of action. If Dodig's in, and I'm Vaughan
Dodig
now,
is in.
then I would love to get some sort of action that puts in the play just to see what she's doing. I'd like to get her involved in the ball screen and let one of your guards go it that way. If she's not in, although like I said she is, then I would get something going inside of the rim now. Just throw it in there and see if you can draw another foul with the job you've done going to the rim here at the end of this half. So Hilton comes in with 2 fouls, which makes, not that anything doesn't make sense, but it makes sense with as an offensive possession. But the Dodig one with 2 fouls on defense is definitely showing the confidence and need they have in her to play this possession on defense with 2 fouls.
They run Brown right around the top for an open look, unable to hit, bounce around for the rebound, comes out to White. A good look, though, there for Vaughan.
The Dodig sub pays off. She gets in transition on offense for them.
Here's Fulong against Hilton. Great defense, even with those 2 fouls. Fulong's able to get her around her, and her shot's no good. So at the end of the first half, we have a 35-33 lead here for Vaughan over the hometown. Oh, Caledon over the hometown Vaughan Voyageurs.
Yeah, and credit to Vaughan. We talked about the first quarter making it sound so dire, but nothing seemed to be falling for them, so it had some pressure on that. But they came out in the second quarter and made shots, and credit to them in that they took some chances as well too. I thought the playing Walters with 2 fouls, even though she ended up getting the 3rd, was a huge decision for them in the positive.
Yep.
That was a key stretch that got them back and this thing got the momentum going, and they were able to maintain it after she left. But they had to take that risk to get that going. So I thought the Walters sub was really big, and really in the scheme of things, I know it put some pressure in the second half. But even if you lose her earlier in the game than you had hoped due to fouls, you probably needed that stretch in the second quarter to get you in that scenario anyways.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip of that, I thought, Caledon did almost something similar. They went back to Zingaro, and I thought they also got some positive of that. The difference for them is it was probably a shorter stretch. She probably only gave them a minute a game time.
Great point.
But it was a positive for them they could build on going to this halftime piece. But now she also sits with 3. So we got Walters with 3, Zingaro with 3. It's going to be a really interesting second half.
Yeah, we'll see how things play out, but 2 key players here, both in foul trouble, both adding offensive and defensive contributions to their team. We'll see how the coaches manage that moving forward.
Yeah, and to build on that as well, like we've got Hilton also with the 2. We've got Dodig with the 2. And one of the pieces of that really makes this interesting is they shuffle their lineups, and this is, you could almost sense both coaches were more comfortable when at least one of those 2 players were on the floor in this game. So you don't want to get in a scenario now where one of them's got 4 or 3 really quickly and you're having to make those decisions early on. I think they're both going to try and find a way to get through those first 5-6 minutes, if it's playing one at a time, maybe potentially, just to try and buy some more into this game before you get those foul trouble scenarios. So at least one's playing for both teams throughout it.
And leading scorers so far at the half, we have Belvedere for Caledon with 11. Fulong with 7 and Zingaro with 6 for Vaughan. We have Brown with 9, those 3 threes. Walters with 7 and Francis with 6. All right, and here we go. Second half about to get underway. A 2-point Caledon lead here going into the third.
And everybody's on the floor, Max, so we've made a big deal about it. No one else seems to be affected. Everybody's on with the fouls, which is great. I mean, put your cards on the table and let's go play. It's going to be a great second half the way the first half went.
We also want to give a shout out to Ursula joining us at the table for the second half. Alo's best friend, Alo being Steve's daughter.
Caledon back out in a 1-3-1 type zone, which is a nice look for them.
Vaughan able to handle that pretty well, though. They get Wahid Warham a good look from the elbow. She's unable to convert. Caledon comes down with it. Let's see how Vaughan plays it at the defensive end. And sticking to their man D. Here's Zingaro working on Walters. Good job there staying out of the foul. But Caledon's able to clean up the glass and get Dodig a good look. Zingaro right back again, and she's able to hit for 2 more.
I like the way both teams start, though. Vaughan comes down and gets Wahid Ward a shot at the elbow, which is probably a great piece of your offense. You want to get that shot. Caledon comes right back down and gets Zingaro in the block to start the whole piece. So both teams start with a good possession on offense.
They swing it around. Here's Wahid Warham. Francis. She's going to be called for the travel. A little bit of miscommunication there between her and Hilton. And it's going to go Caledon way.
Yeah, I think Francis just got stuck between 2 good decisions. She's about to attack a seam, which is probably pretty good, and then she ended up changing her mind, wanted to go for the pass reversal, and that probably just had to be a little off balance, which then creates the travel.
It's always nice when you have 2 good decisions.
Yeah.
Dodig looking to attack. Here she goes on Hilton. They find Zingaro again on the block. She goes right at Walters. Good job her there to stay away from it.
Yeah, big play there. I mean, you got Zingaro, Walters going at it toe-to-toe underneath the hoops. So if you're Vaughan, you're probably holding your breath a little bit, telling her just to stay out of it. At this stage, I think all those playing with 3 fouls, Walters and Zingaro, you probably want them both just to stay out of it a bit. Get us later into this third quarter before you pick up anything else, which may mean you're going to give up a couple possessions either on the glass or the defensive end as well.
They find Fulong for 3 right before the shot clock. It's tipped away there by Hilton, and here comes Vaughan.
Yeah, nice job getting that shot. Fulong, nice cut. I mean, limited clock, sometimes it's tough to get a look like that.
Vaughan works it around. They find Francis. Here's Wahid Warham, the right wing 3, just strong. Fulong comes down with it for Caledon.
Yeah, Brown made a nice extra pass, but I think she might have missed the one that was open. She almost skipped an offensive player.
And right back the other way, Hilton's able to pick off the pass from Fulong. It's going to be a foul on Fulong there, stopping Hilton's transition. It's going to be Vaughan ball on the sideline.
Sometimes those fouls aren't that bad, actually. Hilton jumps on that. Nice play. She's getting herself on the transition. If you can kind of get a little bump and just take the ball on the sideline, gives you a chance to get your defense back. So kudos to Caledon kind of sneaking that one in there.
You're staying in that 1-3-1. See how Vaughan attacks it. They get it to the corner. Right back up top. Wahid Warham, the right wing 3, a bit deeper this time, just short. Here's Dodig in transition. Tries to find Belvedere cutting into the corner, a bit too far in front of her, though, unable to handle that. It's going to go back to Vaughan.
Yeah, one of the pieces for Dodig that I find she does a tremendous job of usually, but this one got away from her, is usually her passes are leading you to where you should be going. This one was almost thrown towards that corner, so even to catch it, you would have had to been on the wrong flight path, per se. So is a bit atypical for Dodig in that one.
Vaughan working around up top. Here's Hilton to Francis. They find Wahid Warham, the corner 3 this time, just off. The fight for the rebound's going to go off of Caledon, going to remain with Vaughan. So Wahid Warham a little bit off to start here on the third, but we'll see if she can start to get herself going and convert some of these chances.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Vaughan and you come out and you say we can get Wahid Warham 4 or 5 great looks to start the half, you're probably feeling pretty good, but the reality of that is they've come away empty-handed thus far, so it's a bit of the same story that they started the first half of the game.
They find Walters this time at the high post, and she hits the long jumper.
And that's probably another one you want to get going. So no problem in my books getting Wahid Warham a bunch of shots that are great looks to start the half, but you also got to make sure Walters is getting some too.
Here's Zingaro going back at Walters, working on the baseline, gets to a little right-handed reverse. It's no good. The fight for the board. It's on the ground. It's going to be tipped off of Walters' leg. It's going to remain with Caledon.
I love this by Zingaro, though, right now. We've seen it twice in this half already. She's taken it from the block and made her go across the rim. So she's really challenging Walters to be involved in the defensive possession. It's not a one-move shot. She's actually forcing her to play her on the bounce.
And with 8 on the shot clock, they find Dodig cutting to the basket, unable to hit, but she fights for the offensive rebound. It's tipped away. Wahid Warham comes up with it for Vaughan. Here's Francis, gets around Belvedere. It's going to be a little mishandled there by Hilton, so it's going to go back to Caledon way.
Yeah, it looked good in the start. Transition, you get it ahead there, you want to attack a closer, but as soon as that gets balled up, when you're down the corner, it's usually trouble.
Caledon working it around. They try and do a little shovel pass there to Zingaro. She's able to handle it. Finds Dodig. We have 5 on the shot clock. Fulong, a deep 3, and it's good.
Nice there with Dodig. I think the one dribble by Dodig is a subtlety that's really important in the offensive piece. It comes here, she's able to take that one dribble towards the elbow. That drew Francis just enough to create space for the shot for Fulong.
Vaughan swinging around. Great pass there, finding Brown open on the short corner. Wahid Warham again fighting for the offense rebound. Unable to hit the first or the second. Zingaro comes down with the third. She's going to be tied up by Brown. It's going to be a foul. Vaughan going Caledon way.
Yeah, and that's that sums up how this half has been for Vaughan. Literally, I mean, you had Wahid Warham who had 2 great chances there by the rim. You're hoping she's converting some part of this ratio right now, but it's probably 5, 6, maybe 7 attempts she's had here to start the half, and just hasn't got one to go yet. So, Vaughan, you keep going. You're hoping she catches fire. She has the potential to do that, but a slow start.
And that's going to be Hilton's third foul, so she's going to check out of the game. Hall checking back in for Vaughan, and we're going to have Dodig at the line for 2.
And that starts the piece we talked about at halftime. So Vaughan's going to be the first one to make that decision. Both now have 3, so this is a chance to maybe to give Hilton a couple-minute breather, see if Walters can stay with just the 3 fouls that she currently has. Then maybe a chance to swap the 2 of them. And if you can stretch that out to get you through this third quarter, then you're sitting really well for the 4th.
Dodig able to hit both from the line. It's now a 5-point Caledon lead. Working around up top, here's Hall. Almost picked off there by Dodig, but Vaughan's able to get back with it. Pass a bit too low for Walters, but it's going to be tipped off of Caledon. It's going to go.
Yeah, Francis with the right decision. You get in there and you bounce that one to your 4. The challenge, the trajectory has to be coming up a little bit higher. It's tough for the bigs to get down, pick that thing up around the shin area, then take it up to the rim. So you want something coming up closer to the chest so they can catch it, put it right to the rim.
They find Walters at the high post. A little up fake on Zingaro. She looks at drive. Great defense there to stop her, and then looking for the cutting Hall, and Dodig's able to come up with it.
I like to see the same. Walters doing the same thing back to Zingaro. They're challenging each other head to head. Both having to stay out of fouls.
Good look there by Belvedere in transition, unable to convert. Vaughan comes down with it. They look to find Wahid Warham in the corner. It's going to be picked off by Fulong, though. Here's Dodig in transition again. She kicks it out, finds Fulong for open for 3, just off. Fight for the rebound comes down to Francis.
Another good look for Fulong, and I thought that one was going to go too. So Caledon's done a nice job getting their shooters some clean looks.
Belvedere was able to poke that away from Francis. It comes down to Dodig. Here comes Caledon looking to attack. Here's Zingaro. The up fake on Walter is able to get into a pull-up just short. It's going to go Vaughan basketball way.
I love the move, the shot fake. She had Walters come up out of her stance. What I would have liked to see from that is continue to go right towards the rim, force someone else to come right to you. You could probably finish over any help you're getting at that stage if you're Zingaro.
Caledon staying in the zone. They get Walters a good look on the short quarter, and she's able to hit for 2.
And you can see why we talked about those fouls being so important in the first half, because both these players have been so instrumental here in the second half.
Walters now with 4 points so far this half, all the points for Vaughan, so we'll see if they keep relying on her on the offensive end with those 3 fouls. Fulong able to get into the key, but dragged the second foot. It's going to be a traveling violation. It's going to go ball back to Vaughan. And just like that, we have Walters checking out, Aruda checking back in for Vaughan. And for Caledon, we have Joven and Fanton checking in.
And they're going to go Walters out now and Hilton out as well, too. So this will be an interesting stretch for Vaughan, especially because to this point, Wahid Warham's not made the shots in the second half.
Here's Francis, kicks around Hall. Brown in the corner, swing right back up to Francis. Stop there by Dodig. Her pass for Aruda is tipped away. Here's Jovin pushing. It's going to be a foul at Hall here close to half court, so it's going to remain with Caledon.
You know, that's what we talked about a bit before with Caledon doing. I thought Hall does a nice job running that one down. That's a good foul to take, too. You run that one down, you get a teammate between the ball and the basket, but take away the odd number situation against you. It looked like a 2-on-1 forming. Hall takes that foul, takes it out of bounds, gives the defense a chance to play 5-on-5. So that's a pretty good rundown by Hall.
So we have Hamilton checking back in with Hilton, so we do have that second piece coming back in, like you said, Steve. Caledon, let's see how they attack, or how Hilton handles this on the defensive end. It's tipped away, goes right to Hilton. They look to trap her up top, but she's able to pass out of it. Here's Hilton from the top for three. Just off. Dodig comes down with the ball for Caledon. Oh, a little tied up there. No call by the ref, though. Caledon plays out of it. They find Fanton in the corner. There's Zingaro on the block, working against Aruda. She'll be fouled, just unable to finish. She'll be at the line for two.
Yeah, that's a tough possession for Aruda. We saw her and Dodig get a little tangle up there near half. It looked like she might have taken something to the face there, and then she comes back down and gets tangled with Zangaro as well, too. So physical possession for her, and then unfortunately walks away the foul as well. Zangaro's done a nice job this half. She's come out and really made had a presence on the interior for Caledon. She's come out with that numerous touches. She's continued to dictate which way it's going, taking things towards the rim, drawing fouls, forcing the action. And we mentioned a bit earlier, too, she's got Walters having to play her some of the dribble.
Unable to hit the second, but Fanton comes up with it for Caledon. See if they convert on the second chance here. They're looking to find.
Hilton continues to be so active on the defensive end. A nice little tip.
They swing it around. Here's Belvedere up top. Here's again Zingaro working on the block. That time a good adjustment by Aruda to block her from behind. Hilton tied up there by Fanton, though. It's going to go back to Caledon.
Yeah, great block by Aruda there to reach across and get that one.
That one was a good play there by Hall, able to tie up Dodig as she's going to the room. It's going to be a jump ball remaining with Caledon.
Hall's been very impressive tonight for me on the defensive end. I feel like she's got her hands on a lot of pieces, and that's a really tough one. When you've got someone going downhill like Dodig is on that, then to get your hands in there cleanly is a really tough play. So credit to her breaking that up.
They find Dodig cutting to the corner. It's going to be tipped off Hilton, though it's going to remain with Caledon. So Hilton remaining aggressive on the defensive end, guarding Dodig here. We'll see if Dodig tries to attack her with those three fouls here on Hilton. Try to get it into Belvedere that time. It's going to be off of Hilton again, remaining with Caledon.
And all this just chips away. Sometimes it's less about the clock, and it's almost the frustration for offense. If defense can knock out 3 or 4 times, it starts to wear on you a bit. So Vaughan's going to keep this piece going. Caledon's going to try to get something going towards the rim.
This time they get it right into Zingaro, looking to work on Aruda. She passes up top to Jovin, but it's picked up by Francis. Nifty dribbling, gets herself free, and she's able to convert for 2 in transition.
Great job by Francis. Now, she had the one the first half. We talked about was a big boost as well, too. She went out and finished on the time they needed, and again, another nice finish for her.
Right back the other way, and Dodig finds Fanton, and she's able to hit for 2 of her own.
Big response there. Dodig had just continued. I love the way Dodig goes cross-court with the passing. She can get things coming to one side of the floor, throw it back the other way, get themselves some shots.
Here's Hamilton, the long 2, and it rattles in. Her first 2 points of the game.
Yeah, the pace has really picked up, so both teams trading buckets right now. Max getting this thing going.
Woo! And that is going to be aggressive defense there by Hilton, paying off as it's going to be an offensive foul called there on Dodig, her third. So another key player picking up a crucial foul at this point. 2 minutes left in the third.
Yeah, that is. I mean, it is her third foul. You're absolutely right. It looks like she's going to get herself a quick breather here for Caledon. But the reality of this now is I think Dodig and the style player she is, she's probably not in that big of foul trouble. You probably trust that she can get you through that fourth quarter without picking up 2 fouls. She knows the difference of what scenarios to be in and to be out of. But it's 12 minutes to go, and an early foul, fourth one makes things interesting.
Whoop. Brown tied up. Hilton there, but she's able to find Aruda on the block, and she's able to finish for 2.
Nifty little pass there by Hilton, too. You come off that, the underhand little scoops hard to defend. Almost like no one challenged it. Aruda just rolled off it.
The pressure they're picking up. Hilton's able to tip it away. They get it into Jovin. The Vaughan defensive pressure and intensity is coming alive here late in the third. Here's Hilton again making things happen, and she's going to pressure her. Fanton steps out of bounds. It's going to go Vaughan basketball way.
Hilton's presence can't be understated here today. And I mean, like you said, doing it with 3 fouls and the style of play she is. So there are some differences between her and Dodik. Dodik's such a savvy player, so great vision with the basketball, making things happen on offense. But Hilton just makes a lot happen defensively, gets hands on things, jumping passing lanes, chasing down rebounds. So to play like that with 3 fouls can be a risk, but she's done a wonderful job of it. We're into the final 12 minutes now, so she just has to get through that with only picking up 1 more.
And we'll see if Vaughan continues. Ever since Zingaro has checked out of the game, they've looked to get things going towards the basket. We'll see if they continue to do that here late in the third, as the long shots haven't fallen so far this quarter. We have Francis bringing it up for Vaughan, 15 on the shot clock.
A little change in defense for Caledon now as well. With Zingaro out.
They swing it around. Here's Hilton, a deep 3, just strong. Jovin comes up with it, and Caledon's looking to push. Oh, almost a steal there by Hilton, but Belvedere's able to come up with it. Step around 3, just short. It's going to go Vaughan basketball way.
Well, you can tell shooters sometimes they get themselves open. As soon as she felt the space, she let that one go. This one came a bit short, but that's a shooter thing. You get the person to run by, you're like, I got space.
All right.
This baby's going.
Fire away.
Yeah, and I like that. And I think Caledon, too. I mean, you felt the confidence. We're sitting here beside the bench. I think as she took that one, you could feel the presence of people starting to get up. So it was a good shot. It's just a credit to the mentality.
Here we have Francis bringing it up. Swinging it around. Here's Hilton again from the corner. A second chance. Jess rattles out. Aruda, though, on the glass. It's no good, and Brown comes down with it for Caledon. Vaughan continuing to hit the offensive glass with Zingaro out. See if they can start to convert on those second chances. Brown, a deep 3, just out. Hamilton comes up with it for Vaughan.
Well, we were trading hoops there for a bit, and now it seems like both teams getting some chances and nothing falling. So it just continues to be back and forth. What a great battle this has been.
It's a great game, my first of the new year. I hope they're all like this. And Francis right in the key, and we have a tie ball game, ladies and gentlemen. 40 seconds left in the third.
Francis showcases again. She had this one in the first half. The ability to get to the contact first, establish that space, use your body to get the space, then go up and finish. Nice job.
Then working it around. Great defense here by Vaughan. We have 10 left on the shot clock, and Belvedere tied up top. Here's Jovin. Back to Belvedere. She gets a good look from 3, just off. Tipped around, and it comes down to Hamilton. Hilton leaking out. 10 seconds remaining. Gets to her right hand. Just too strong. 7 seconds now. The fight for the ball. It's going to be off of Hamilton, out of bounds on the baseline. Caledon, 1 second left.
Frustrating miss there for Hilton. Get out behind everybody. I think there was some confusion on Caledon because nobody was back as safety. And then sometimes those are just as tough. You get wide open like that with nobody around. Feels out of rhythm, but tough miss.
It almost looked like she couldn't decide if she wanted to go right or left there. Got a little tied up in between, but that's how she drew it up. It's 45-45 after 3. We got a whole new ball game. 1 quarter to go.
Yeah, what I find interesting there is that at the end of the quarter there for Caledon, obviously they had some foul trouble, but they sat both Zingara and Dodig at the same time, and that caused. But on top of it, Fulong was also sitting, so you had 3 of your offensive weapons down at the same time, which caused them some new looks on offense. I think they were a little undecisive of who's going to make things happen, and it put a lot of pressure on Belvedere, who's been really great playing off those other pieces early in the game. So we'll see if they come out here now in the fourth quarter and try and get back to that a bit. Some other people creating, letting Belvedere play on those kickouts and getting a little less attention on her. Vaughan, the other half, I thought was like a really interesting story for them because they come out, they had probably exactly the shots they wanted, but Wahid Warren couldn't make any to start that quarter. And then again, almost like the first half, they need to go through that lull, and then it's the guards, both Francis and Hilton, that add a little bit in the offensive end, some pieces on the defensive end, and that little momentum just starts to carry, get some things to go. So we'll see if they can come back in the fourth and get both Walters and Wahid Warren going again, and maybe maybe Hilton can keep it going as well too.
Yeah, I think Vaughan handled that stretch there without Wahid Warm and Walters both on the bench exceptionally well. They picked up the defensive pressure. They got few in transition. They chipped their way right back in, and now we have a tie ball game.
I mean, Hilton is one thing for us to look at too is like we're 3/4 through this thing. She probably has 2 points, but her impact on this thing has been tremendous. So if she could get something now, like even that the one we missed at the end there, but if she can get 2 or 4 points just out in transition pieces for them off the defense, that'd be a big plus for what they're trying to do right now.
Yeah, a bunch of her points created haven't necessarily been for herself, but off her tips, steals, she's found her other teammates and got them out in transition, and it's paid off.
Yeah, so Vaughan's going to come out, looks like, to start the fourth quarter without Walters. So this may be an interesting move. They may be buying 2-3 minutes here without Walters to give her that breather and see if they can finish the entire fourth quarter with her with that. And tough to go against that with how they've had the success. If you're in a tie game like that, that might give you enough leeway to get these 2 minutes and let her finish.
On the other end, we have Dodig, Fulong, and Zagara all checking back in the game. So we'll see how Vaughan attacks the defense here. And it's going to be tipped by Dodig up top, stolen away. It's going to be a foul there on Wahid Warm. It's going to go Caledon basketball.
Yeah, good adjustment there by Caledon, whether that came in the intermission or that came just from the players' awareness. But that's exactly how the third quarter started. Ball came on this side, and they got Wahid Warm stepping into the far side elbow. This time the Caledon defender stayed a little more at home to look at a steal, or first a deflection, then the steal on the play.
And we'll see how Caledon attacks here with Walters on the bench. We'll see if Zingaro gets some looks down low. Dodig works it up top. They find White. And here's Fulong, a deep three, and she's able to hit right away.
Yeah, welcome back. They come back to Dodig. They get Zingaro involved in the ball screen, then it goes 2 passes, and Fulong just – it was kind of a tough shot. I thought you have a little hesitation before you let it go, but a good look.
They swing it around. Here's Francis. Here's Wahid Warm. A long 2. Foot's on the line. Just rattles out, and Zingaro's able to come up with it for Caledon. Dodig looking to push. Gets right to the rim, and she's able to finish.
That's a nice finish. She gets by this first defender. There's a little bit of contact there, and she went to lean on it, but the defender stepped out to avoid the foul, so Dodig ended up leaning on nothing, which makes it a tough one. You have to have good body control to get back to the rim.
Right after that basket, we see Walters coming right to the table, so she'll check back in at the next break. Francis gets into the key, unable to convert, but she gets her own rebound. Starts to swing it around again for Vaughan. Hilton tries to give it back to Francis. It's going to be kicked out of bounds, though, by Caledon. It's going to go over to Vaughan. 14 on the shot clock now. So Walters checking in for Aruda here. 8:46 remaining in the fourth.
So you did get an extra minute 15. I mean, it's a 5-point game, and now you got everybody back in. So it's going to be a battle down to the finish here, it appears, with these two teams.
And work it around. They get Walters a touch right back in the game. Unable to hit that one, but fighting for the out board. Vaughan comes up with it. Couldn't handle the ball in the corner there. It's going to be off of Vaughan, going Caledon way. We also have Hall checking back in the game for Hilton here. So we'll see how much time Vaughan gives Hilton on the bench before checking her back in the fourth.
Yeah, you come back to Walters, it's probably a good chance or good timing to give Hilton that breather.
Dodig looking to push again. This time she finds White, the corner three just short, but Dodig's able to come up with the ball for Caledon.
Last finish by Dodig forced more attention in the paint from the Vaughan defenders.
A little up and go by Culp as she gets into the key. Great defense there by Walters. And Walters able to tip the ball away and come up with it for herself. Francis looking to go in transition, tied up there. Zingaro's able to come up with a steal. And we're going to have Dodig tied up there, trying to pass over the top. It's going to be a foul. The ball remains with Caledon. Whew. Got my tongue tied there. Sorry, everyone.
Dodig's been a key piece in this offense. So we mentioned a couple possessions ago in transition. Because she went and finished that other one, it drew extra defenders in their penetration, and that's creating shots for her teammates. So her ability to pass can only be complemented by her being a threat for herself.
They do a double high ball screen there to get Walters out on the perimeter. Culp's able to drive on her, and she'll be fouled there. She'll be at the line for 2. Foul there on Hall.
Yeah, and they've come out in the fourth quarter, Caledon, and had a couple sets early on where they've had 2 forwards high, setting a double ball screen, pulling that attention away from the rim. And as you mentioned, what that's going to do for Vaughan now is they have to make some decisions. What are you going to do with Walters and the other defenders? Are you going to have everybody high opening up the paint area, or are you going to leave somebody sag down in there? So some decisions we made in how they're going to defend this. Caledon right now is leading the pace in terms of we're making this move. Let's see how Vaughan's going to respond.
Kolb missed on the first, but able to convert the second. It's now a 6-point lead here for Caledon. Working it around the outside. They keep. Dodig, though, picks up that pass from Hall. She goes the other way. Little mishandle there at the end. Passes out to Fulong. Looking to find Zingaro, but it's tipped away. Brown has it. Oh, nice little hesitation move there by Francis. And Zingaro's going to tip away that pass. It's going to remain Vaughan ball. 18 on the shot clock.
Yeah, hard to criticize this, but it's almost too unselfish there for both the Vaughan players. Like Brown does a beautiful job here in transition, almost weaving through what felt like 3 defenders. But then when she got out there, the pass goes back out to the outside. There seemed to be a lot of attention if she could have got that thing a little deeper. Then again, it goes to Francis, who probably had them on their heels. So she could have got herself into the paint. It might have been a better shot as well, too. So, like I said, hard to fault, but almost too unselfish. Right now, Max, I look at this and I think part of the difference in this game has been some of these opportunities that Vaughan's had they've left at the rim. They've had a couple uncontesteds here, the late third, early fourth, underneath the basket, one with Walters, one with Hilton, and just having able to put those things in, and that's really what's separating these two teams at this point.
We'll see here, 7:30 remaining. It's a 6-point game, though. Everything's up in the air. We'll see if Vaughan can try and get Walters some touches down low, get her involved on the offensive end, and then if you're Caledon, where are you going to go?
Well, I think if you're Caledon, you really like the double high that you're running right now, double high ball screen. I think you stay in that action at least for another possession or two to see what Vaughan's going to do. If they can get Walters up the 3-point line here for the next whatever stretch of time trying to defend that, I think that's to their advantage. Zingaro's done a nice job on the move against her, and Doty does a nice job getting there finding people that are open. So Vaughan would clearly prefer to have Walters by the rim protecting it. If you can pull her away, let's keep that going to see how they adjust.
All right, so they come in. Here's Vaughan. Brown, little fake the other way, gets right in the key, unable to convert at the basket. Wahid Warm with the follow. That's no good. The fight for the rebound, and it's going to go off of Walters, going over to Caledon. That's a few putbacks Vaughan has had that just haven't gone their way.
Yeah.
Woo. Great save there by Wahid Warm, though. Ball comes out to Caledon, and it's going to be a foul call there on Hall, fouling White on the sideline. It's going to remain Caledon ball.
Yeah, it's been a bit of the same story in the second half. Wahid Warm, I feel for a bit. She's had some great chances. They haven't been able to go down. So if you're Vaughan, it's almost in that stage at the point of the game. It's this close this time. Do you decide maybe it's not her day, or do you decide that she's just going to get going? And that's different philosophies and different confidence in players knowing them a bit better than we do.
A little drag of the foot there by Dodig. So it's going to be a travel going over to Vaughan. The last foul was also the 4th team foul on Vaughan. So any fouls here on out will put Caledon in the bonus. So something to watch here, giving them easy chances at the line. They find Hall, an open 3 from the left wing. Jess rattles out, and Dodig's able to come up with the board for Caledon.
From the story of Vaughan, they seem to have made shots in bunches. And the reverse of that, they've gone some stretches where nothing seems to fall. Nice save.
Vaughan's able to come up with a steal. And Wahid Warm in transition gets to the contact but ain't unable to convert. Caledon comes up with it. They're going the other way. Zingaro, a little up fake, gets into the key. It's going to be blocked there by Walters, and Vaughan's looking to push. Here's Brown. They swing around. Here's Hall, the exact same spot, just off. And Dodig again able to come up with the rebound.
Yeah, another good look for Vaughan, but again, can't get it to go. They're going to have to find someone to make some shots here.
They swing it around. They find Zingaro, guarded by Hall, with the mismatch down low, and Zingaro's able to finish for 2.
Yeah, you like that matchup too. If you're Caledon, you get a chance to move it around. Zingaro goes down. She's a guard on her down on the block. Just a chance to go right to her left hand, lay the thing in. Easy offense.
Caledon, it's picked off by Dodig, second leading steal getter in the OSBA, and Caledon comes right back the other way. White's unable to convert, And the fight for the rebound, it's going to go jump ball remaining with Caledon, sorry.
So what's been a great game, it continues to be, but the stretch or the time is now hitting for Vaughan, where they're going to have to find someone that's putting the ball in. I mean, for as well as they've played, and you usually like to focus on those things, but someone has to step up and make a couple of these shots. It's stretched out to 8 points. This is starting to become a gap that's fighting against time.
Yep, and then with that, we have 3 subs checking in for Vaughan, so we'll see if the new legs can help ride some of that energy. And right away, Zingaro's able to find an open shot from the elbow, and she's able to hit that.
A nice little misdirection. A couple cutters going away from Zingaro. It draws the defense, and then she just stands still for the open 2-point shot.
Here's Hilton, the corner 3, just strong. The fight for the rebound. Hamilton comes up with it for Vaughan. It's going to be a kick ball there called on Caledon, so the ball is going to remain with Caledon. 14 on the shot clock.
And they've got to, at this stage, Vaughan's going to continue to work on that offensive glass. When the shots won't fall, you're going to find some way to generate some offense now. So they got to lean on this offensive rebounding, or if they can get someone, they can get to the line potentially and create some offense. But they need something to get some points going.
The deep 3 from Francis is no good. Dodig again comes up with another rebound, and Caledon's looking to push in transition. They find White in the left corner. She drives, finds a cutting Dodig, and her 3 is good.
That's a big shot for Dodig too, coming down in transition. And as we talked about a bit earlier, for the passing she does and the shots she creates for them, just staying as an honest threat, which she does here, comes in transition, opens up so much more for her game now. And now the question really be, if you push this thing to 13 heading to the 5-minute mark, the challenge is really going to be on Vaughan. So I've been harping a bit on they're going to find someone that can score a bit, and you're probably going to now engage some of your defensive tactics. Are they going to put up something here in pressure? They've done a tremendous job all game with that. You go with some sort of zone press, but you're going to create some offense to your defense as well, too, because 13's a lot to make up in 5 minutes.
Both Dodig and Zingaro stepping up here in the 4th, providing that offense that Caledon needed. And we have a 13-0 run here for Caledon so far in the 4th. So, Vaughan, they're going to have to score.
Yeah, I mean, as simple as sometimes that sounds, but it is the reality. Like, as you said, at 13-0 in the quarter, you've gone through 5 minutes, you haven't scored. It's tough to stay in those games. Like, how long can you lean on your defense to keep you alive if you're not getting anything on the offensive end? And sometimes you can score in a variety of ways. Maybe their defense can be the thing to create some of that offense. As we mentioned a bit earlier, maybe it can be the offensive rebounding. Maybe they get to the line, but something has to go right now. And they've had some good looks. So the offense execution hasn't really been their problem. They just haven't had anyone making shots this quarter.
Just haven't hit, yeah.
So they've either got to get hot or something here on defense. And I would expect some sort of change here coming out for Vaughan. You want some sort of change to get that going. Caledon, on the other hand, is probably going to force you, Vaughan, to make a move first.
This is something, though, we did see. They were not hitting shots early in the 1st. They started piling in the shots in the 2nd. So we do know they can get hot in a hurry. We'll see if it clicks here in the 4th, and they can just chip away back at this 13-point lead.
Yeah, it can go quick. You're absolutely right, Max. If they start to make some shots, these things can happen quick.
Caledon remains in that zone. They find Hilton on the block. Her pass is again picked off by Dodig. Another steal, and she goes right to the rim, and she's able to hit for 2 more.
Yeah, some miscommunication on which way the cut was going there. So Hilton saw Francis at the top. Francis went with the far side cutting behind Dodig. Hilton thought she was coming this direction and led to the turnover.
Here's Hilton. They find Wahid Warham. Back to Hilton. It's going to be kicked away by Dodig this time. Constantly finding herself around the ball.
Yeah, she's got a great sense for it, and they play her in a position to utilize that. So you put her at the top of that zone. So any pass is coming back out of the corner, you're relying on her anticipation, her vision to go get some of those steals, and she does a tremendous job of it.
As we mentioned previously, she is 2nd currently in the OSBA in steals per game. So constantly getting the deflections and steals for her team. Caledon comes the other way. Belvedere just checked back in. Her shot's too strong. It's going to come ball back to Vaughan, and Vaughan's looking to push. Here's Hilton trying to find Aruba on the block. It's going to be tipped away again. It's going to go out. No, saved there by Vaughan. Wahid Warham's tied up. The fight for the ball. And it's going to be a quick jump ball call there in the corner, and it's going to remain with Vaughan on the jump.
Yeah, I can feel the battle here, though. The ball gets knocked down the corner. You got 3 or 4 bodies hitting the floor in different spots. So the battle is real. The battle is real here, even in a 15-point game, trying to keep either your team alive
is real.
or Dodig, in this case, trying to finish this thing off.
Love it. Every time, throughout the whole game, every time the ball's been on the ground, we've had multiple bodies flying from both teams. The intensity, the effort, It's OSBA. We got that. A little confusion here, I think, about the shot clock with the reset if there was a change in possession before the jump ball call. And the referees get together and they're going to agree that it is a 24 second. So Vaughan with the full shot clock here, 3:30 left in the fourth quarter, sorry. They're going to have to find a way to get the ball in the hoop. Francis kicks out. The deep two that time from Brown. It's no good. Caledon's able to track down the board. Belvedere finds a cutting Dodig, unable to hit. The fight for the rebound. Dodig comes up with their own miss. Belvedere gets right into the key, finds Zingaro at the high post, just too strong. The fight for the rebound, and Dodig comes up with it again for Caledon.
Well, the bodies on the floor trend continue. We talk about this. It seems like every possession you got people putting everything on the line for this right now. I mean, this is why this game has been so exciting. And they show it possession by possession, both teams.
And that foul there is going to be on Zingaro from behind, so that will be her fourth. She'll have to sit. 3 minutes here, and we have Fulong checking back into the game for Caledon along with Malinauskas.
So what was a big story in the first half, which was the foul count on both teams on some of the key players, but we've got to the fourth quarter now, and it hasn't really had as much of a factor here in the second half.
Here's Vaughan working it around the zone, causing problems for Vaughan here in the second half. Francis able to get in the lane, though. She's going to get fouled plus the basket. She'll be at the line for one more.
Well, we'll see if this has been the foreshadowing, but I feel like every time Francis had a tough finish, that has led to them going on a little bit of a run. So this would be desperately needed right now. One of the other adjustments we'll see if Vaughan, I thought I overheard this trying to get coming from the floor right now, is they've been running a pick on the top of that zone all game long. But one of the changes they might want now is get Francis to hold that a little bit longer. So get Dodig out of the play and see if she can get someone else to come to her before the ball moves anywhere else and get a little more of a different shift in that zone.
Here's Dodig working against Brown right in front of us here. She's going to go off the double high screen. Brown's able to pick her up. Dodig gets into the key, gets a little turnaround hook going. Unable to hit. Walters comes down with it for Vaughan. And here they're looking to push.
That was a great move by Dodig, though. Unfortunate the finish didn't go, but a great move to have everyone run by her, then a clean look on the step or the turnaround.
Francis gets right in the lane. She's going to get the foul call. She'll be at the line for two more. And that foul is going to be on Belvedere.
Yeah, and that's a good one for Francis. I mean, if you're Vaughan, you love these ones. You get out in transition and you get fouled. So the clock's going to stop. You get a chance to chip away this, and you can set up your defense. It's pretty much the triad of what you want.
And Francis able to hit again from the line. So it's what we were talking about. Vaughan, they like to get out and run, create some stuff from their defense. They had defensive stop. Walters throws it over the top to Francis. She gets the breakaway, and she's able to get to the line and convert both opportunities. So Vaughan's chipping away, 10-point lead now, 2.5 minutes to go.
Walters has been really great at that for Vaughan as well, too, starting their break with the passing.
Here's Brown on Dodig. Dodig fakes to go by the screen. Gets out, finds Belvedere, an open look, just too strong. Again, Dodig, though, another offensive rebound.
Nice job, Dodig, chasing that one down.
They switch the screen. They get Dodig over on Walter. She gets to her floater just off. Wahid Warren comes down with it. She's going to look to push for Vaughan now.
Another great shot for Dodig. So she's had a couple good looks here in the stretch. These two haven't gone, but I think if you're Caledon, you're happy with the shot quality you're getting.
Here's Brown, the left wing three. She filled it up in the first half, just trickles out. Francis trying to fight for the board, just stepped out of bounds, so it's going to go Caledon ball away.
See if they come in here in defense. Vaughan looking like they a little gassed here for the full court. So see if they can show something here for some sort of pressure or disruption.
Dodig working on Brown. Takes an eye at the shot clock. They still have 16. Here's Belvedere working against Hall up top. She's going to go off the Brown screen. She's going to be called for the offensive foul.
This will be tough for Vaughan. I mean, you get down to this last 2 minutes, it's tough to – you don't want to sub for new bodies at this stage of the game if you don't have to. You want to save your timeouts for scenarios you might need them, but at the same time, the ability for them to chase around and cause some disruption on defense looks really – really challenged by maybe the fatigue of some of the athletes. They don't have that same zip they once had early in this half to chase around people from behind, trying to get deflections.
So we have a minute and a half here, 10-point lead Caledon. Let's see what Vaughan draws up.
Caledon now in the man. They get in the high pick and roll with Francis and Walters. They kick out for 3 in the corner. Brown's just a bit too strong, but Walters is able to come up with it. She's going to be fouled. She'll be at the line. Oh, no, it'll be on the floor, sorry. But that's the 5th foul on Caledon, so she will be at the line for 2.
Nice little split dribble there by Francis, too. She kind of, 2 defenders in a tight space. She kind of bounced it between there and then made a nice pass to the corner. So sometimes you can split that defense, and now you're ahead of 2 defenders. They're behind you, so they pass the corner, draw on the extra defender. They get a wide open shot. Walters does a nice job keeping the play alive, but the shot quality they got or the decision of the pick and roll was a very positive showing for their offense.
Zingaro checking right back in. Walters able to hit the first.
Yeah, and at this stage, when you're talking a minute 10 to go with Zingaro, you're also telling her to play every possession like she has to defend the rim. So if she takes a foul, that's part of it, but you don't give anything easy now. There's nothing stepping back out of it. Zingaro's job now to come in and ensure Walters doesn't get going late.
And she's able to hit both from the line. 8-point lead now, Caledon, a minute 10 remaining.
They're still going to need, Vaughan's still going to need something from their defense in this stage. Caledon's too good if they're just going to try and out-execute them down the stretch.
They get it to Belvedere at the top. She's calling for the screen. She rejects it, goes baseline. They swing up top. Here's Dodig, an open look, and she's able to hit for 3.
Yeah, she was due. She had a couple real good looks here in that stretch that we had touched on. She gets another one here. One of those is going to fall eventually, and that's why you just stick with it. You got to look at, are you getting good shots? Dodig was. That's a huge 3 to put what's a very time-sensitive 11-point lead now.
They find Brown, tries to answer from the left corner 3. It's no good. The fight for the rebound, and Zingaro comes up with it with Wahid Warm. It's going to go over to Caledon.
And again, more bodies going to the ground. So you get an offensive rebound here, and you get 3 of them down the floor again. So credit to both teams and the effort they're putting forth tonight.
With that 3 from Dodig, that was her 10th point of the quarter and 16th of the game. Filling it up here. Fourth quarter player.
She's been great, and she's had a couple real good looks that didn't go down as well, too. She's had a wonderful fourth quarter, and it's been a big part of the difference here in this fourth quarter.
They get it to Zingaro on the wing. She goes baseline. They kick out. Here's Malinauskas, the 3. Just rattles out the fight for the rebound. Wahid Warm comes up with it. Francis back to Wahid Warm. Nice passing there by Vaughan, and they're able to hit for 2.
And that one, the play worked out great. Francis ended up taking a wider turn than they were probably hoping, so she ended up really wide here, almost to the volleyball sidelines. So Wahid Warm's first pass, or ended up stretching that defense out. Well, you actually would prefer her going towards the rim, but she made a nice pass back to get the defense offset to get the layup out of it. But we're trying to get an update here on the floor and the injuries and what we're looking at.
Sideline reporter we need. OBA is taking applications, so everyone send those emails in to Lynn Nguyen. We want sideline reporters here. OSBA Game of the Week. Come on, join the team.
We'd love to have you. Now we're going to, what started as an injury break, now we do have a timeout for Caledon, which is going to advance the ball. I think just take that pressure off. Despite it being 9 points, you still want to just take the pressure off anything bad happening in your backcourt. You put the ball up here, increase the odds that even if the worst case scenario happens, some time it's going to tick and you get a chance to play defense in front of it. On the flip of that, Vaughan's going to you're running out of time to even play for a steal. Most of the part now is you get to steal the inbound or foul immediately. You don't have much time to trap into the things because you do have to create 3 more possessions out of this game. So you're going to need time. If you're Vaughan, you got to consider that you won't have time to progress the ball each of these possessions you're going to need. So some of these ones are going to have to be a defensive stop and push down there.
All right, so here we go. 16 seconds. Let's do this. Get your popcorn ready, everyone. It's going to be a tight one. I love being back at Game of the Weeks.
Well, we got a good one for your return, Max.
It's always good ones, Steven. OSBA, great job scheduling these Game of the Weeks, and we're glad you guys have tuned in. We do it for the fans. Here's Caledon to inbound. Great defense here by Vaughan. They get it to Malinauskas, though. They find Zingaro cutting. They look to tie her up. They find an open Jackson for three, unable to convert. Here comes Vaughan. 6 seconds, and it's going to be tied up by Cope right at the three-point line. It's going to remain with Vaughan. 4 seconds, 9-point lead, Caledon.
Wow, talk about a play that works out perfect, but just teeters on the perfect play, the play you don't want. If Cole gets called there for a foul, it's the last thing you want, but then they're going to tie up to the perfect thing you want. So,
Woo! And Brown's able to hit again for three. And that's all she wrote, though. It's going to be, oh, never mind. There is 1 second on the clock. With the FIBA rules, we do stop the clock when the made basket's in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. So with the made shot, we will have 1 second still on the clock. Caledon's able to inbound it, and that was a long 1 second, but there we go. So at the end of this one, we have Caledon 63, Vaughan 57.
yeah, and the difference of this game, and what was a tremendous game, a bit of a slow start for Vaughan. That ends up being a bit of a challenge. You have to battle your way back from that, but ultimately it was the slow start to the fourth quarter. So you go through a stretch of about 5 minutes without scoring, it's always going to be difficult to battle your way back. But all in all, I thought a great 40 minutes for both teams. We really appreciate the effort. As we mentioned a couple times, people on the floor making things happen. Caledon that comes out does a great, wonderful balance of attacking from the outside shooting, and Zingaro does a nice job in her presence inside.
Yeah, so leading scorers on the game for Caledon, we have Dodig with 16, Zingara and Fulong both with 13. For Vaughan, we have Francis with 14, Walters with 13, and Brown with 12. So that's all for today. We will be back with you Thursday, Stephen and myself. The crew's back in town for the 1 versus 2 seeded game, 6 p.m. We hope to see you all again. And until next time, we out.